Let me just share my screen and then we can get going. Okay, can you type in chat, everyone? You can see that okay? Yeah, you can. Perfect. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Emma. Good. Excellent. That's good news then. Right. So the next hour, I'm just going to share with you what I work with my clients, certainly using LinkedIn in a B2B space to connect and engage with people in the right way. And use it more effectively than just gathering numbers, so that we get the situation where we're actually speaking to more highly targeted people that we know are a good fit for what we do. So how do we encourage businesses to use LinkedIn more strategically, to generate and build relationships? Is the key on LinkedIn before we ever ask for anything, is building that relationship with our connections. And really that's replacing this volume mentality that a lot of people have, and I'm sure you get it a lot yourselves. I certainly do, where I'm getting, you can tell they're automated messages, because as soon as you connect with people, you get a message ping through straight away trying to sell to you. So it's how we can really help small business owners and businesses to use it in the right way, because it is the most powerful social media platform, I feel, for any B2B business to use. B2C, it's slightly different, probably using Facebook, they're using their Instagram. But certainly anyone who's selling services, solutions, or products to another business, this is the ideal platform to reach out to those people, mainly because you can reach out to people by role, by size of company, by industry, by sector. So it's a really powerful tool in that way to be highly targeted. So a little bit about me. I'd usually go around everybody and say, introduce yourselves, but obviously in an hour that could, I think 25 people were due on this call, so it could take an hour to do that. So I will talk to you and ask people to come off mute if you've got questions, and as we go through, just to keep it flowing. So a little about me. My name is Richard Moore. I'm the founder and CEO of Ignite Growth Consultancy. My area of expertise is exclusively working with B2B clients, getting them to that first 7-figure business. So getting them to the £1 million turnover is where my core skills lie, putting in place a proven strategy to do that, processes and systems, how they embrace technology. I've just written my first book, Remarkable Business Growth. You can see the cover has just come through yesterday from the designers. So we're starting to get that, finish the final draft. So that's going to be launched next March 2023. I run a lot of these live shows. I've done them for Barclays Business Bank, Business Lincolnshire, E-Factor, Federation of Small Businesses, and obviously this one's from Greenborough with Russell and Michelle at Greenborough. And my expertise is really in digital lead generation and customer acquisition. So it's how we use the modern platforms, certainly social media, but also how we create our website into a conversion tool for us as well, that's constantly adding leads into our CRM and engaging with those leads. So well positioned to really cover this, but what I'm going to share with you today is how I do it personally with clients as well. So it's not just theory, this is what I do on a day-to-day basis with clients. First thing, I know a few of you after the last one actually were kind enough to connect with me on LinkedIn. If you haven't connected with me, then by all means connect with me. If you have any questions following this, that you just want to ping a DM through to me on LinkedIn, ask me anything, then please feel free to do that. Now, this is your LinkedIn QR code. So first thing I would say, does everyone know how to get that for themselves? You can just type into chat if you know how to get that. Anyone who doesn't? Right, Simon? Okay, I'll quickly go through how to get that QR code. So in the LinkedIn app on your phone, if you open your LinkedIn app up, hi Andy, yeah, I'm going to cover it now. As the app opens, you'll see you have your search bar at the top. If you tap on the search bar, to the right of the search bar, you'll see a QR code. If you tap on that, it'll give you two options. It'll give you your QR code. You can see mine's popped up there. I can show you that just clearly, yeah. And then there's also a scan option, which is next to it, which allows you to scan other people's QR codes. So again, I teach my clients to do this at networking, just to, as they're chatting to people, say, can we connect on LinkedIn? and they do that process and scan their QR code. I also add it to my email signatures. At the bottom of all of my emails have this on. It's on my business cards as well. So again, it's just giving people different ways to connect as well as through the platform itself. So by all means, connect with me. Any questions you've got, just fire away after this as well. So LinkedIn itself as a platform, over the last, I'd say 5 to 10 years, it has really matured from just being another social media platform to really being the business platform. Certainly recruitment, it was a big thing for recruitment when it first came out. People were basically writing their LinkedIn profile as if it was a CV, effectively. Now people are starting to become far more human on there, talk about how they can help people. And you can see here, this is HubSpot research. It's done on an annual basis. And it was the third most popular channel for salespeople to actually reach out to prospects after email and telephone. And I bet it's gone up from this. I think this last one was 2018 that they did this report. But they basically do the research into how salespeople and what the most effective ways to reaching out to people are, and LinkedIn had, as I say, moved up to third in that, after straight picking up the phone to talk to people or emailing out to people. So it is one of the main sales channels. So certainly for a customer acquisition, for that initial conversation starting, I would say that LinkedIn has to be in all of your clients' mix, really, in the marketing mix. And it's, you know, even if you're not using the paid version of LinkedIn, it is such a good channel to reach the right people and get to decision makers without going through all the gatekeepers, without having to go through 5 or 6 other people. You can go straight to the person you want to talk to. And that's the power of it. So again, I'll show you how to do that in a really human and holistic way, and being helpful as well. I think that's key whenever we're reaching out to people, that we're offering to be helpful all the time and help them with their problems, not with ours. And I think the reason it's become such a strong channel for salespeople and a strong channel for business generation and lead generation overall is because it aligns with how people are now making buying decisions. So this is very much the inbound mentality of people go through awareness that they've got a problem. So they start defining what that problem is. They then go into a consideration phase where they're actually looking at all the solutions. So they're really, I think, refining what they've defined as their problem. They then go into these are all my options to solve that problem. And then they finally get to a decision-making stage. And I think that if you align with that as a sales process, so you're identifying, so helping people identifying. So I would say to people, spend all your time identifying who the right people are you want to talk to first, because then you're not wasting time with everybody else who isn't really suitable for what you do as a business. Then how do we connect with them? How do we then, once we've connected, start engaging and exploring that problem that they have or that situation that they're trying to solve? And then how do we give them advice? So how are we helpful and advise them, even if sometimes it's not to use us as a business? Sometimes the best solution for that person may be to use one of the competitors or use another solution. But as long as we're going through that and we're helping them make the right decision for them as a business, then we always position ourselves in the right way. And we've had it ourselves. I've had it a lot in my business where people, I've dealt with them and for some reason they've gone with someone else, and then 3 months later they come back to me and they say, Richard, oh, can we talk again? It didn't quite work out. So again, it's just because we've done it in the right way. And I think LinkedIn aligns with every stage of this. You know, we go out and we find strangers, we can turn them into leads, we can then qualify those leads through conversations, turn them into a sales opportunity, and then convert those sales opportunities into customers. Does that make sense? Yeah. And I think LinkedIn is the only platform that really aligns with that perfectly. So asking your clients to understand their customers, and this is where I start all of my work with my clients, is I go through their previous 100 orders that they've had and we identify trends. We identify what industry they're working best with. We're identifying then who the main people they're talking to within the companies, who are the companies within that industry that they want to be talking to, and who are the people within those companies. So again, what pain or challenge are they solving for that person is really key. But then understanding what questions are people asking, once they're looking to make a decision. So as we go through that decision-making process, as I say, we're asking very broad questions to start with, and then we're getting more and more specific as we get near making a decision to solve a problem that we're facing. And then what are the mistakes that people make? What are the misconceptions people have, the fears they have? You know, these are all things that people can address when you're reaching out to them and talking to them. So when I'm talking to business owners and they're looking to get to that 7-figure mark, I'm always saying, you know, what are the mistakes you've made? You know, what are things that you feel have worked well? What are things that haven't worked so well? And we really drill down to developing a strategy based around tactics that we know are going to work. So everything we're executing on a daily basis from that strategy are things that we know we're measuring and are working and we're improving. So again, talking about these mistakes and misconceptions is a great piece of content. If you're writing blog posts, there's some of the most read blog posts are mistakes that people are making, or misconceptions or beliefs, things that people believe that aren't quite right. And then fears as well, address those. And then understanding, asking your clients to understand what's the buyer journey that person goes through. So if you're talking to financial directors of companies, if that's the person you need to speak to, that's your buyer persona who is your decision maker in most of the businesses that you speak to, then what does their buying journey look like? What questions are they asking at different stages of that journey? And map out that process so that you know you can add value at every stage of that journey. And then help them really to understand. I think that these questions will really help them understand how to produce the right content on LinkedIn, because I think when people post on LinkedIn or write articles on LinkedIn or newsletters, which are becoming really popular, if you can fill them with all these different things that their buyer personas are going through, show that they really understand what they're going through, then people will start engaging with that content and then reaching out to them in the right way. It's giving real value and insight. I think that's what we try and do, not just posting boring generic stuff on LinkedIn that you've seen 50 times before. It's really showing I understand the problems you're going through. You know, reach out to me and we can certainly have a conversation about ways we could help. And then having a social strategy. So really mapping out what your social strategy looks like. So you're doing something structured on a daily basis, not just opening the app, going on, leaving a few comments, maybe posting one thing a day, you know, having a real structured strategy that how you're going to develop and nurture these relationships over a period of time. It's probably going to take you 5 or 6 different touch points and engaging with people's posts. And this is something I always say to people, just engage with people first, then ask for the connection request. Don't just ask to connect first of all, and then, you know, you've come out of the blue, no one knows who you are. You know, I said, but if you actually comment on someone's post, like it, you maybe share it, something that you know is valuable to your audience, then they're far more open to connecting with you as soon as you say, you know, really like that, I've sent you a connection request, and then you'll see that your connections just go up through the roof. So I'm going to talk here about sharing relevant content, because I think that's the key to giving that value. Interacting directly with people, so how we'd use direct messages, how we'd engage with people through their own posts as well, through comments on their posts. How important it is to have a strong personal brand on LinkedIn, because people tend to do a lot of things through their business page. And I just think we all buy people at the end of the day. And if it's the personal profile that's reaching out to me, I'm far more likely to connect with them than a brand or some corporate business page. So again, personal branding is really important. And then learning how to listen as well, learning how to get really good at listening what people are talking about in the industry that you're targeting, what people who are FDs, if you're targeting FDs, what are the financial directors, what are their main concerns? They've got plenty on their plate at the moment, haven't they? And thinking, right, what's my decision maker? What's their role on a day-to-day basis? And who are the other people that they talk to in the company? So again, when I talk about surrounding someone, it's saying, well, they're in the middle is my decision maker. He'll be my champion. He'll be the one I need to connect with. But then he'll bring the CEO of the company and the FD, maybe the marketing manager is going to be brought in, because there's going to be 4 or 5 people involved in most business to business decisions nowadays. It's not like a business to consumer decision where one person's making the decision. In most cases, there'll be a group, there'll be a decision making group, and we need to be connecting with all of those people on LinkedIn as well. So we've got a cohesive whole, and we know that the FDs hearing how this is going to save them money and how it's going to really improve the value for money he's getting, which will be his main concern at the moment. The operations manager is probably thinking, how's this going to improve our efficiency? How are we going to be more efficient by using this? So again, different people have different agendas in companies, don't they? So it's key that you don't just connect with that one person at the heart of the business and think those are my decision makers. If I had all the FDs and I was connected with all them, life would be rosy. It probably wouldn't. You need all the people around it as well. And that's really why, because people are going to research your clients as they're reaching out on LinkedIn. There's going to be people doing a lot of research on you before they ever speak to you. And I think we know that we do it ourselves. We'll go out and we'll do some stalking on LinkedIn. We'll look at the company profile, probably visit their website. We'll do lots of digging before we ever speak to anyone now. And this is certainly the case in B2B. Again, 3/4 of people have admitted that they do that. And I think it's probably higher than that. Those are probably the ones that were just honest. So personal branding, let's look at that. So you're advising your client. And the first thing I would say, and this is just a snapshot I did of my profile, is make sure they've got a nice smiley picture on there, because there's so many people have these bland looking pictures that you just think, well, I don't really want to connect with you. You don't look like the type of person I'd want to connect with. So nice smiley pictures. Again, in there, remember, this is a personal profile. So if you can get a picture of them speaking or doing something to do with their job, not just the company logo at the top here. Again, I see so many people just put their brand logo at the top here. And again, it just depersonalizes it. When you talk about personal branding, you really want it to be as personal as possible. And then this first line here is critical. This first bit is what we all see on our app, what we all see when we're looking through people's profiles is this bit here. And I always say, make this as buyer-centric as possible. So think about, you know who that person is you're trying to appeal to. So if it was FDs, I'd be saying helping financial directors achieve whatever they're trying to achieve. So that main challenge or pain that we can help them with. To me, it's very much helping business owners get to that 7 figures, build a remarkable B2B business. Those are the people I want to be approaching me who say, yeah, I'm at 350, 500, Richard, I need to get to 7 figures. My next goal is to get to that £1 million mark, and then we have a really early conversation about how that may look for them. But that's really the importance of this paragraph here. Again, so many people just talk about themselves in here. I put a little bit at the end here to build a bit of authority at the end, but most of it's about the other person who's reading it, and am I a good fit for them? Am I worth connecting with? So a good piece of advice is get your clients thinking more buyer-centric, and if they haven't done that work on who is my main buyer, who would my target buyer, and they all have them. They'll say, oh, we're really broad, we appeal to everyone. We'll just say, you need to become a specialist and not a generalist. And I did a video on this on YouTube last week, because so many businesses go really broad with their offering and trying to appeal to everyone. But actually, everything will come down to money then. Those businesses that are saying, oh, they're judging me on price, Richard, I'll say, because they don't see you as an expert. They don't see you as a specialist. They see you as a generalist, and there's 50 other businesses out there. You all right, Emma? Losing connection. I can't even say anything to that, can I, after last time? So so again, if you can talk to your clients in that way and get them thinking about, who am I targeting, what's the industry, what's the key sector I want to dominate and become really well known in, get them to do then a list of companies. So I call it a target account list, but it's basically target accounts of, these are the 200 companies I know in that business that I want to work in, that industry that I want to work with. And then these are the people within those companies. So if they think like that, then they'll have a really clear idea of what they're going to write in their profiles to appeal to those people. But the more specific and the more specialist they can appear in there, the more connections they're going to get, and they're going to be highly targeted connections as well. The people that will connect with them will be people who will have the problem that they can solve, or have a need for that product that they produce. If they're a mechanical or an engineering or a manufacturing business, I deal a lot with manufacturing businesses, and I say, you know, there's a sector who really needs your product, and you've got to really ignore everybody else for now and just become the expert in that sector. Doesn't mean in the future we can't expand our reach, but to get to £1 million or to get to £2 million, you can do that with a very small, very tight market, and you build your own market. Don't go to the market, because if you're just one off the market, then everyone's always going to judge you on price, and it's just a shame. So again, consider these 3 questions. I put, what message are you sending out? Is your image professional, smiling and friendly? Is it well branded? Read your profile as a buyer. Does it explain how you can help people with their challenges, pains and opportunities that they face? And are you showing how you can add value? Does that make sense, everyone? Yeah, Andy, you're nodding. Yeah. Okay, it's just I see so many who just say, I'm a so-and-so, so-and-so, and you just think, well, you know, it's great if I'm recruiting for someone in your position, but most people on LinkedIn now aren't recruiting, unless you're looking for a job, of course. But so try and be as buyer-centric as possible. That's a great tip you can give to your clients. And also tell them to use creator mode. If they get the opportunity, tell them to turn creator mode on. And again, for some bizarre reason, you can't do this on desktop. You have to go in the app again. But if you scroll down, you'll see it's literally a toggle thing that you can switch creator mode on or off. So get creative, because what you can do with creator mode is you can actually have a 30-second video, you know, where your image is, where your picture is on your profile. If you go onto my account, you'll see there's a 30-second of me talking to you. So that image then becomes an animated little 30-second video of me talking to basically B2B owners who want to grow to 7 figures, and telling them how I can help them. So just doing a little bit of a thing. And again, I've tried to make it as personal as I could to them, so that anyone watching it would want to connect. So if you go down to resources, you'll see like that, and then it's just to be turned on there. Turn off creator mode or turn on creator mode. That allows you to do that 30-second video. But the bigger thing it allows you to do is it allows you to turn your articles into a newsletter. And I'll show you later why the newsletter is so powerful. But effectively, a newsletter gets sent out to all of your connections. And it's the only way you can reach all your connections with a piece of content. So take it seriously, the newsletter, because it's something that I started using last year. And to see, as I say, I think I had 568 people subscribe to the newsletter, the first one I sent out. And out of 4,500, I thought that was a pretty good response rate. So it's a really powerful tool that not many people talk about yet. So creator mode's worth having for that. They give you other things as well by being creator mode, but I think that those 2 things, I think you also can feature things on your profile. So if you look on mine, you'll see I've featured my scorecard, I've featured my workshops and my webinar that I do once a month. So again, it allows you to feature 3 posts or 3 things right at the top of your profile. So really worth doing. So again, if you're advising your clients, just tell them to switch creator mode on and show them how they can do a little video, things like that. They'll get such good response from it, especially if, again, they're connecting with the right people. I did put the newsletter in this bit as well, but I will talk about it a bit later. So here's my newsletter. There you go, 504 subscribers. That was the first one I sent out, I think, got me up to 504. And then because it goes to all your connections, you can see the power of it, can't you? Because in my newsletter, I'll put probably 3 or 4 paragraphs of real value. So each time, the one I did in August was about being remarkable, why remarkable businesses differentiate themselves from your average business. The last one I've just done in September was all about strategy. So I did lots of things about the 12 elements to pull into a growth strategy. So I had lots of value. Then I'll always embed one of my YouTube videos in there. So I'm making it really multimedia. And then I'll have a call to action. So maybe book yourself onto my next workshop, take my scorecard, use the diagnostic tool that I've got. So there's a mix of real value I'm giving, multimedia content, so videos. I'll also link up to some of my blog posts. If it's relevant to strategy, I could link up to my strategy blog posts. So again, it's just really giving value in your newsletter, but also your calls to action are strong. So all my workshops fill up. I basically limit them to 12 people per live workshop I do, and I fill them all up through LinkedIn. I don't do hardly any other advertising, to be honest. I just fill them up through LinkedIn. So again, I've said here, make it engaging. Don't just make it all text. Put in video, images, links, updates, things that are coming up in the next few months. You know, so again, I don't know if West Yorkshire County, is it the authority, isn't it? Yeah. I don't know if they have their own newsletters, but again, transferring it onto LinkedIn would be a great idea for them. My only thing would be always try and do it through a personal profile rather than a company. You can do it through both, and I've just not seen the same response through company profiles as I have through people's profiles. So again, I advise your clients to start taking LinkedIn newsletters seriously, because they're great, great ways of driving traffic to their website. They're great ways of getting people engaged with them. Yes, it works. Emma's asked, does the newsletter work for a business page as well as a personal one? Yes, you get the option in it, Emma, when you're setting up to either do it through your personal profile or through one of your pages, because I manage my clients' pages, so I'll get about 5 or 6 options up. But yes, you can do either. I would always go the personal route though, because again, just people, it's far more, that personalization can be far more coming from you as a person writing to them. And you're each all going to have your own expertise and your own knowledge to give, so it doesn't mean you can't do a communal one as West Yorkshire Combined Authority, but also I would, if you're building your own followings and your own people up as advisors, I would be giving value myself, because that's really what people are going to engage with more, I would say. Just having worked with Lincoln County Council as well, I know what their newsletters are like, and they're not very interesting. Yeah, you're nodding away, Andy, it's true. Right, so then I promised I'd share what I do on a daily basis. So I call it the F.E.E.D system, and it's a book that I've probably got here. If you want to read more about it, this chap here, Jamie Shanks, released a book called Social Selling Mastery, and he was the one that I stole this off, basically. He had a 90-minute cadence every morning that he teaches people to connect correctly on social media. And it's called FIND. So the F stands for find. So finding the right people and surrounding their sphere of influence. So remember, I talked about that decision-making group. So yes, you're going after your decision makers. So these are the main people I want to be in front of and starting conversations with. But I also would go onto the company profile and say, right, where's the CEO or the MD? Where's the financial director? If I'm a technology business, then I'd need to know that the IT team are involved in the conversation as well. So getting that sphere of influence and connecting with multiple people is a real core skill, because once you get it right, then you'll find introductions coming in from really weird places. I mean, we had a client, one of our biggest clients with my last company, came in through a junior marketer who'd actually had connected with her, as well as connecting with all the other people on LinkedIn. And then the MD had gone to her and said, right, can you go out and find a company that I want to talk to about this? So it was her that reached out to us and then invited us to the meeting. So again, don't ignore other people in the company, because doors can open from anywhere in that company. So it's great to go after the most obvious people, but I also think get as many people in that company. And the great thing in LinkedIn is that you can go on the company profile and see everybody who works there. So it's quite easy. But again, when you're reaching out, send a personal message. Don't just connect. Always be very personal about why you're connecting. And usually having one other person in that company is the best way to do that. Say, I'm connected with John, thought I'd reach out to you, see you working in the company, just a very natural conversation. Once we've found and connected with them, then educate. So again, thinking back to those pains and mistakes people are making, thinking back to the buying journey, the questions they're asking. So all of those things are really key bits of content that we can use to educate. I think we're like doctors at this stage. We're diagnosing the problem, aren't we? We're not we're not forcing our message down people here. We're just educating them and just really diagnosing what the core problem is. The more information we ask, the more questions we answer, the more things we can answer. I think the more trust and authority will build anyway, naturally. So educate and then engage. So now on a daily basis, once I've connected with someone, I've shared some content with them, maybe shared a blog post, shared my newsletter, I've shared a video that I've done on YouTube with them, I'll then engage with their posts. So I'll have my list of people that I'm connecting with. And I'm doing this with 20 people every day. I literally have 20 new people every day I'm reaching out to. And I've got a long list of people that I know I've got to connect with. And I just do it like this meticulously every morning. And then I'll engage with their posts. So usually with my decision makers, I won't go after everybody in the decision making group. It'll just be my decision maker. So in my case, it'll be the owner of the business, and I'll see what he's posting about his business, what awards he's won lately, what milestones they've passed as a business. Again, another client that I worked a lot with was basically just because they'd reached 1 million downloads of their app, and I sent him a message saying to the CEO, just saying, fantastic, what a great result, I bet you're really chuffed with that, and just really sort of chatty sort of message. And he came back and I said, could I do an interview with you about reaching that, because we worked in a similar space at the time. So I said, can I come down to your head office and just record a quick video interview with you? And that started our conversation just from that, him talking about his achievement to me. And then he sort of said, oh, what do you do, with business growth around marketing? We're trying to get social media working better for us, Richard. And the next thing we knew, we were in with their marketing team, and we've got a contract for a year with them. So, and that was all just through reaching out through LinkedIn. If I'd have gone through traditional routes of trying to ring his secretary and get a meeting with him and things, I'd have never got there. So again, it's just been very natural and engaging with their posts. So I'll like posts, I'll share posts, I'll post regularly myself. I find LinkedIn polls are fantastic because you can see exactly who's voted on each option in your poll. So again, I've got a scorecard of 25 questions that people can ask. It's like a self-diagnostic basically for the 5 areas of business growth that they need to be excelling in. I send people through that, but then I pull one of the questions out as a poll on LinkedIn. So I've basically got 25 weeks worth of polls. But everybody who answers those questions, I can then see who they are. And if I'm not connected, I'll connect with them and start talking to them. But I can also see how they voted. So if they've voted, no, I haven't got a strategy in place, I'll know my first thing is, should we have a chat about that? Do you think a strategy would help you get your goals? So look at polls on LinkedIn, certainly. I use them a lot on Twitter. I think I had 64 votes on my last week. You'll see on my Twitter account. I ran a what type of business owner are you? And it had 4 different options: procrastinator, frustrated, successful, and I can't remember what the other option was. There were 4 options basically. And then I ran the same poll this week on LinkedIn as well, because I thought, I want all the people who are procrastinators and frustrated, really. And those are the people I want to be talking to. So that's your engagement thing, thinking through what can I post, but how can I engage with other people? And then actively developing that relationship. So my first step is to get them from LinkedIn into HubSpot, into my CRM that I use. HubSpot, I want to get them into there. So I've got their name and email address, and then I can start some email nurture. I can start developing that relationship. So to me, I'll always be offering one of my guides. They'll go to a landing page, and then they'll fill that landing page in with their name and email address. They'll get the guide. And then they're in my CRM, and they'll start being followed up, and that relationship will be nurtured manually by me, and also automatically by HubSpot, following them up and just engaging with them and sharing more content. So again, F.E.E.D is quite a straightforward process: find, educate, engage, and develop. But you can see it's not find and sell to them straight away. It's not send them an automated message. It's really nurture that relationship, and it works a treat. I've been doing this for 3-4 years now, and it works so well. But the best ones are always the ones I've engaged with first. I haven't gone straight for the connection request. You know, if there's one thing you take away from it today and to tell your clients is engage with people first, then ask for the connection request. So like a post of theirs, comment on it, they'll then know who you are. And then in the comment, I always say, going to send you a quick connection request. And they'll get them nearly all. They'll get them all. You won't be sending connection requests to 20 and getting 2 people. You'll get 18. So as I say, it's well worth spending the time doing this. And I would say an hour a day, I've said here, at least an hour a day should be the cadence that they have. They must set aside an hour a day and do this religiously every day. There's no point doing it once a month and hoping it's going to work. It won't. It's just building that momentum. And by doing it an hour a day, you get connections you connected with last week that suddenly have downloaded your guide. You get a whole momentum started. Just keeping an eye on the time. We're 20 to 10. So anyone got any questions so far? Apart from Andy working for Lincoln County Council. Yeah, that's... Anyone got any questions on what we've covered so far? Anyway, I'll keep an eye on chat. Chat's up there, so I'll keep an eye on that. The other thing I want you to show all your clients how to do is find their LinkedIn social selling index. So SSI is a social selling index and it's totally free. All they need to do is Google LinkedIn SSI score and you'll get basically a score come up like this. And this is great because it's built into LinkedIn's algorithm and it shows you how successful you're being in establishing your professional brand. So that about, have I got the right look and feel? Am I finding the right people? Am I engaging with insights? And am I building relationships in the right way? So it'll really show them how they're doing on a daily basis. And, you know, I think I started about 22 when I started doing this and it's slowly built up and I think I'm about 82 now. I took this screenshot a while ago, you can see from the old picture and things. But this is a great thing to track, and certainly if they've got a sales team and they're encouraging their sales teams to use LinkedIn properly, because it'll give them some sort of way of knowing that the sales team are doing it right as well as them as the business owner. So it's a great indicator of success is your SSI score, and the fact that LinkedIn give you that for free, you might as well use it because you can see where you need to focus. You know, I need to share more content or engage with more content because that's low, or I need to focus on being more targeted with the people I'm finding. You know, I need to connect with more CEOs and business owners. So that's basically how I use the LinkedIn SSI. And then LinkedIn polls, I sort of touched on them earlier, but the power of the poll is that on LinkedIn, unlike on Twitter, you can't see who's voted. On LinkedIn, as the person who's put that poll on there, you can see everybody and where they've voted and how they voted. So again, doing a poll every week, they might start with a few votes and then they'll slowly gain momentum as you do them every week. But as I say, the power of having the knowledge of how they voted and who they are and that they're engaging with you, it's gold, because you really know, yeah, they know me, they're engaged with me. You know, I can see some of the pains they're going through from the way they've answered these questions. And the way I follow them up is just saying, oh, thanks for answering that one question. That's actually part of my self-diagnostic tool. And then I send them to that, send the link to the diagnostic tool and say, go over to the scorecard, fill in the 25 questions, and then in there they have to give your name and email address to get the results. It produces a free report at the end of it saying these are the areas you're strong, these are the areas that you're doing okay, and these are the areas you need to work on. So again, that's my lead gen. You know, it's, yeah, you've engaged with my poll. Here's the other 25 questions. I think you're going to find it really valuable for knowing where you are in your business and what to work on next. And it'll capture a lead. Okay, Andy, you've got your hand up. Come off mute.
Yeah, there was a question in the chat just to go through how to generate the QR code again.
Yeah, absolutely. So is that David? Yeah, David's asked that. So in your app, you can't do this on desktop again, David, but if you have the LinkedIn app on your phone, open the app. And then at the top, next to your picture, you'll see a search bar. See the search at the top there? You can see that. If you tap on the search, then there's a little square just there. It's like a QR code thing at the end of your search bar now. Tap on that, and that opens up basically your QR code. So that's your QR code. And you can see at the bottom, you've got options to share it, to take a photograph of it or download it. So if you want to do what I do and add it to your business cards, to your signature on your email saying connect with me on LinkedIn here, then people can scan it really easily. We change the color so you can actually match it to your brand colors, things like that. So there's lots of things you can do with it. And then at the top next to my code, it'll say scan. And that allows you to scan anybody else's, use your phone and just scan anybody else's QR code, and it'll bring their profile up and connect you straight away. So is that okay, David? Perfect. Good. Good. Yeah, as I say, DM me if you're having any trouble with that, just send me a message. It's really useful, as I say, especially if people use it on their printed material as well. Right, so that's it. I managed to shrink a 3-hour workshop into an hour there. So any questions now? Let's anything that you've heard over the last 45 minutes that you want me to expand on? Yeah, Simon, sorry, you were trying on your desktop. Yeah, for some reason they give you more functionality on the app. Well, you know why, because they want you using the app more. But yeah, unfortunately, some of the things on there aren't available on desktop, on the desktop version. So, David, have you got a question? You've come off mute.
So yeah, thanks, Richard. Yeah, and I sorted out the QR code. That's really good. Can you just go back over quickly the thing about creator mode as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So in your profile, again on the app, open up your profile.
Yeah.
Go into my profile.
Yeah, so I've been in and switched it on.
Yeah,
I don't know why I've switched it on.
Yeah, and it's under resources. You can see
yeah.
there. Yeah, under resources in there. So creator mode basically allows you to do the little video thing there. I don't know if you can see it on my camera. Let me just refresh my page, and then you'll see. Just search. There we go. Yeah, so when my image comes up to start with, and then it becomes a video. See how it was a video there?
All right. Yeah.
You can only do that when you activate creator mode. It allows you to put, instead, as well as your image, it allows you as your profile picture to put a 30-second video.
All right. Right. That's good.
So that's really good, because people can tap on it and you can get a proper message across straight away. The other thing it activates is that featured. So you wouldn't have featured if you just had an ordinary profile. You wouldn't have a featured thing. Now with featured, you can have, I think on the desktop, you'll see three things that show up on my profile as featured. On mobile, it's just one, and then people can side swipe at your featured. But again, you can feature events. You can feature like a live show. I've got an Eventbrite workshop I'm running on Thursday featured on there. I've got a link to my newsletter, so people can subscribe to my newsletter on there. I've got a link to my scorecard, my free diagnostic scorecard. So those are three things that I want people to see featured at the top of my profile as well. You have to have creator mode on for that. And then the final thing is writing an article. So people often ask me how you do this. So let me just go back into the app. There we go. So you know where it says start post at the top? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can see it. Yeah. So if you start writing a post, you can also make it an article. So rather than writing a straight post, you can write an article. Now, when you've got creator mode activated, you'll see at the top of article, when you start writing an article, it says, would you like to turn this into a newsletter? So you can then have two different pieces of content. You can have a monthly newsletter or a weekly newsletter or an article. So again, you definitely can do that on desktop once you've activated creator mode. But rather than writing a post, you're writing an article, and then at the top, look for newsletter, create newsletter.